Okay, so what had happened was I forgot the goat was out. Something started banging on the gate. I could not tell what it was. Looked like legs. It was legs, skinny legs, small legs. I did not think about Raymond being outside the fence because Raymond ran out like a Fruit Loop. Watch me go, Mom! If you've never had a goat, much less a bottle baby who lived in the house with your dogs, you just haven't lived. So Raymond full on thinks he's a dog. So when he heard me feeding, he was so upset that he was missing out. I was like, you're fine. Completely fine. But not gonna lie, startled me. I had to kind of gather my senses about me. It was just a thing. I was not in the happiest place I've ever been. Not at all. So, that being said, I paused so that I could assess the situation and move forward. So I finished feeding, gathered all the eggs, and moved on. Which is a good thing. I probably paused it and restarted it because I had a shirt full of eggs and dogs happy to see me and all the things. And this requires me to pay attention. More than a little, a lot. So, that being said, now we're doing laundry. We had a little snacky snack. Try to eat early. I have to eat like every few hours. And so, like, now I'm like, oh, I had like this much ham and this much scalloped potatoes. And I feel like I'm going to die. I had a couple of really thinly filled, I guess is the word, jalapeno poppers before I went out there because I really thought I was starving, in case anyone wondered. I just thought I might be starving. Turns out I wasn't, but you know, is what it is, right? So, yes, but like I was saying, how do you look on your own list? So, this was an exercise we did. I can't remember what we were doing. It was a team building one time, and it was like, what what do you what do you have, what qualities do you think are, you know, the best employee? I'm trying to think of how it was worded. Struggling. Um, how was it worded? What are the best qualities for your position, right? Attributes, qualities, all the things, right? So you made this list. So we did a few other things. Then we were asked to make a second list. What are your qualities? What do you bring to your role? Right? You couldn't look at the other list. Right? And like I said, there was space in between, time in between. There was discussion, there was all the things and all the time. And then you're like, oh, well, about that. So then, everybody looks at it and, of course, everyone is super generous typically with their self. I'm a touch more self-deprecating, a little more self-critical. So I'm always a middle of the road. I recently had an evaluation at the old job. It was their first time to ever do an evaluation like corporate style. Where do you think you sit on completing tasks and being on time? Like these things, you had to fill it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, oh, where I sit is insanity. But thanks for asking. Right? Anywho, yes, I want to change the cycle. So, where are you at on your own list? Are you surviving or thriving in your own environment? Right? If I had a house, a car, a job, money in the bank, not a bunch, but I had money in the bank. and a few things like this when I met Justin. So, I mean, he had money in the bank, not much, but some. He lived in a company house. He had truck payment. Like, we were both pretty independent. He had paid off all his student debt. Thanks be to God, because we're just about done paying mine off. But this is my whole roundabout ADHD thought process. I don't even think it's ADHD. It's just the hamster jumped off the wheel. Okay? If you're making lists for your employees, for your potential partner, candidates to employ, all the things, what is on your list? Now, I told y'all that one bugs me the most. Well, I have a list and I want X, Y, Z, K, M, L, M, N, O, P, right? And I'm like, okay, bro, what are you bringing? Like, I told someone one time, I'm not afraid to eat alone because I know what I bring to my table, and I bought the table. Right? So, not only do I know what I bring to the table, I bought the damn table. So, I am working on not cursing. Y'all need to pray for me. When I'm tired, it gets hard. Frustrated, all the things. Today, the weather changed kind of radically. So not fun for autoimmune. Mm. It's kind of a weed whacking event if you have autoimmune, and I got a trifecta. So, but have you made your list? And when you make your list, the one about you, me, this is the only time I want to hear me, 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 and it's me, myself, and I. Okay? Here's what I bring. Here's what I need to bring. There's 2 columns. Because every day of your life, you can improve. You should learn something, try something, do something, some way to improve it. So when people are like I said, we didn't come this way. We become this way. And the list, if you keep a list that's unachievable, it will never be achieved. Partner, spouse, business, employee, employer, children, whatever. You cannot have an insurmountable list that cannot be achieved. And you need to start with number 1. What am I bringing to the table? And did I buy my table? Or are we going to have to buy it together? Because I'm going to tell you what, like, we have a lot of jokes about, I know what I bring to the table and it's my table. But we have our table, my table, his table, all the things. Like, it's all ours now. I mean, that one is mine. It was my grandmother's. It's a whole. But in the big scheme of it all, it's ours. So, do you see what I'm saying? And Justin, I hear Justin tell people this. He tells people, the best thing I ever learned from Robin is she told me she didn't need me. And I used to get so offended. And he said, then one day he told me, he's like, what does that even mean? I said, I will never need another man. I might want one and I might choose one, but I will never need another one. And then he started clicking like, okay. Okay. And now we're fixing to cruise 13 years and he's like, okay, I get it. And he now sees, like, when other people come and speak to us or ask things or this, that, and the other, he now gets it. He gets it. When someone asks him for some advice, he says, what are you bringing to the table? And we did go to therapy. It was a whole thing. And it worked. And it was fine. No, I can't just sit still. I see my thing needs water. And but we went to qualified people. So the other thing I'm going to tell you, parting advice wise, if you're going to ask someone for advice, make sure it's advice you would take. I mean, you're not going to go ask the fireman how to be a farmer. You're not going to go ask someone in an unhealthy relationship how to have one. Are you following along? Do you get it? Make sure what you're surrounding yourself with matters. I'm filling the water container for the air purifier. By the way, Katie's gonna come give me a test run on a Rainbow. I just have to give her a day. These are my cheapies, but they're still better than crap. So, but think about it. You don't ask a fireman how to be a farmer. You don't ask unhappy people how to be happy. Now, a girlfriend and I, hold on. I knocked it over. Oh, God bless America. And every day in between. Good heavens and Hades. I asked a girlfriend yesterday and she said, well, most of us always give better advice than we take. And I said, true. I said, but where you get advice from matters. And I'm going to stick to my guns on that. Don't ask a fireman to be a farmer. How to be a farmer. Ask him how to be a fireman. Ask him how to be a good one. Now, if you had someone who couldn't stay employed, who couldn't this, whatever, you wouldn't ask them how to interview for a job. I mean, you would go to someone who's hiring people and say, what are you looking for? How do I be the best candidate? Right? So just think of yourself as a candidate in your own life. Yeah, because I'm really seriously wondering how we got here and how we're stuck here. Yes. When I told y'all, it really wasn't my favorite thing. We just had a whole discussion about it. So drop any comments, drop any questions. I would love to hear your takes on it and your advice you give, but really, you can't ask a fireman how to be a farmer, but he would be a great person to ask how to be a fireman. And if you're going to make a list, you seriously need to compare it to the one about you. And don't be like, oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Like, sit in the dark, in the still. Like, my time in the still is in the morning before anyone's up. I read. I will watch a podcast. It's typically teaching me something. Sometimes I scroll social media, what have you. But at the end of the day, in my time in the quiet, that's when I go over things, assess things, analyze them to death. But when you sit in the quiet, ask yourself about your list. How's it stacking up next to that other list? Maybe you can start becoming the whole package, but I'm going to tell you what, when you find someone willing to do the work for and with, you become it together. It can't be one-sided. On that note, I do have some book work to do. I have like 30 text messages to reply to. I have some ads to post and schedule. So just remember, when you're making these lists, I'm making yours too.